Let's talk a little bit about the roadmap. Titan CMS Roadmap, 6 and beyond. All right, we're going to talk a little bit over here. Job status alert notifications. When you have a job running, a background, a reindexing, a import, a something else, there's a very rich and robust screen inside of your Titan admin for all you people running data imports into your data sites. And 99% of the time it runs fine, but every once in a while something goes funky for whatever reason. And right now, basically the way people know is all the data didn't show up, all the new dealers didn't show up into your dealer database that you put in last night. Why are they not there? And you go and look and the job failed, et cetera. So there's been a request made for, can we get notifications via email when something goes wrong with an email? And so that is a customer request. And so we move that up to the top of the list to add notifications into the system.
Yeah, I think that'll be something, the timing of these, a lot of these are concepts and ideas that we definitely want to get to. The notifications one in particular, I've had, it's been, when we started 7.0, I really wanted to have the notifications bell in the top of that ribbon bar so that users could get notifications of other things too, like you just got assigned an item in workflow. It's your turn. It's your turn to acknowledge this and make it go live. Things like that too. One of the things that holds us up on that is a little bit of a technology stack thing, but I think we're definitely working in that direction to be able to get those real-time alerts like in the workstation, maybe, rather than the email notification, but the email notification could also be a simpler first step.
Okay. Item 2, tag metadata, adding extra data onto tags. So we have more than one client who has a filter block on a data list or somewhere on the site, and it says pick a color and it says red, green, blue, et cetera. And they say, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could put a little square of red, green, blue right next to that tag in the filter block? Or I want a small, medium, and large widget, and I want a small, whatever. They want to have some sort of iconography on the page to enhance the visual experience of that. And so that's called tag metadata. The most common example is adding an icon to a tag, but it could be really anything that you want to be able to attach onto the tag. So the ability to add extra data onto tags is something we're looking at in 7.6. It's a customization that we have frequently made for clients, and we just want to kind of roll that into base so there's a standard way of getting that done.
Yeah, and a standard way to extend it too. I think a lot of it is configured via XML, maybe in an app bar or something like that. So to bring a UI into the system that is maybe easier to extend and expand on. That's what we're looking to do for that.
In complement to that, SVGs, show of hands, how many people know what an SVG is? On about half the room. Okay, so SVGs are simple vector graphics.
No.
Oh, no, my God.
You lost. You failed. It's scalable.
I said half the room knows.
Yeah. It's a scalable vector graphic. Yeah. They're really amazing and sharp, but commonly used for icons.
Because they can make them small, and as you drag it out, it's a vector graphic.
Yep, and so it's easy to style. Actually, it's really using CSS. You can change the color of the image. The paths on the icon can be adjusted and things just using CSS. That's pretty slick.
So we're looking to put a library. People have libraries of icons that you can buy online that you might have created yourself. Mostly people are buying them. And then adding that library into Titan Admin so that you can then reference it and put those icons in as tag metadata so that the ability to pull from your existing library of icons.
The other thing we would want to be able to do is let that be content in a freeform block, right?
Yes.
So, have it maybe be some new plugin or maybe part of image picking. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not looking for something from my file pile. I'm looking for something from my icon library. And be able to that as an entity in Titan that is easily selectable, and you can pick the plus, pick the minus, pick the whatever icon you're using for your site.
Okay. Next up, number 4, forms block, data block enhancements. We have made incremental enhancements in 7.4 to the forms block. We've added a multi-check radio button checkbox thingy, which I don't think we want to get into because it's esoteric. But somebody wanted that, a different way of having checkboxes and the way the data was reported, so we added that enhancement inside there. But we're also looking at and have done lots of integrations with third-party systems. So we have integrations with HubSpot, with Campaign Monitor. Actually, there's a whole bunch of them listed on our website where we've actually built integrations for other people's forms. And right now we're looking very seriously at standardizing possibly on something like JotForm or one of those other commercial packages where you'd be actually develop the forms in the JotForms interface and be able to drop them very simply onto the site. We notice this because lots of people use our forms for the basic forms, and we have a very advanced forms job status workflow engine that we use for some of our clients where the very, very complex forms, adding and uploading data and branching logic and stuff. And so we have simple forms, well done, and we have very advanced forms, applications very well done. But sitting right in the middle are many things that are not quite simple and not terribly complex. And that's where either we add more features into our stuff or we adapt to somebody else's form out there. And we're looking at JotForms at the current moment to see if that might be a good place to integrate. Yep. And we'd be able to drop those forms on. And as I mentioned, a number of our clients we noticed were using that. So they had a bunch of our Titan forms on there. And then we went to their site after a year later, checked back. And oh my God, they had 60 different JotForms all built out over there. And they said, yeah, they liked it. They liked the interface. They had listed a couple complaints here and there, but sure, it was enough where they were taking advantage of those forms. So that's something we're looking at right now.
Sure.
Next up, alt text defaults on images. This has been on our list for a while. We'll see if we can get that tackled. When you upload an image for accessibility purposes, for screen readers, for SEO purposes, it's nice if that image has alt text so that Google and screen readers can identify that image for you and many, many advantages of that. You absolutely can do it now. You just have to do it one at a time. Whenever you drop the image into the freeform or wherever you're putting it, you have to add that alt text in there. So there's nothing that prevents people from doing it now. It's just we could make that easier by having, when you upload an image into the file pile, you would be able to add alt text at that time as the default alt text that we would then use. You could overwrite it because one of the reasons we haven't done in the past is because people use an image in many different ways and want different alt text on it in different parts of their website. And so we said this, but I think there's a reasonable case to be made that having default text on there that pops up that you could override is a way to approach this. And so that's something else we're looking at. Next,
looking at also getting into and maybe getting finalized the idea of auto thumbnails during file uploads. Especially with things like PDFs, where you want to get that first page of the PDF as the nice thumbnail graphic for that PDF or Word docs. Turns out some file types are easier than others. I think the Microsoft file types tend to be a little bit easier because they have some things that we can use to generate those, but it's not across the board for all file types. So looking at building in a system that is easily extendable. Maybe we add in a few file types to start and then be able to grow that library of ways to auto thumbnail new files.
PDFs, JPEGs, we have
videos
for certainly. And then like with a video, which thumbnail, when you upload to YouTube, it lets you kind of pick which frame do you want. Right. And so those are more advanced features inside of how the thumbnail gets generated. But yeah, JPEGs are simple, are straightforward. PowerPoints are more complex. Microsoft doesn't make that easy. All right, next one up is platform as a service. This is another one where, at least for next minute, I think I'll do this in a minute. You can tune out if you want. But this is a technology stack enhancement. Right now, most websites on the planet are hosted on a web server. You have one web server. You have IIS, you have information server, whatever. If you're on a different platform, it might be a different environment. But one server, one website, or that server might serve up multiple websites. In the world of cloud computing, there's a concept called platform as a service. And so rather than uploading your website to a server, you kind of upload your new website, Titan website, into the cloud. And where it lives is kind of amorphous. And you don't care terribly about it because what it does is it kind of distributes the website version and the database version amongst multiple boxes, or as many as you choose. And what's nice about it is you can scale it up and scale it down very quickly. So if you are suddenly going to send out 100,000 notifications to sign up for your conference, and you're expecting a huge spike in traffic to your website, you can then temporarily, for a couple of days, scale it up to have the equivalent of 10 file servers. And then as soon as you're done with that, you can scale it right back down to your normal one. And so platform as a services gives you kind of a very quick ability to scale. It structures the way that the website is served up a little bit differently, but largely it's the same. And so that's 1 minute. Anything to add on that?
Yeah, it's a hard topic to do in a minute. I mean, there's already things like infrastructure as a service, which is probably closer to the way Titan is deployed today, which you get all the same extendability. You need to ramp things up. You can do that. It's just a little bit more difficult for IT professionals to manage because it's just different. And so the idea of having a platform as a service as kind of the default way Titan's installed in a cloud environment, that's something we're definitely making movement toward.
So it'll give us the ability to deploy faster. It'll give us the ability to scale up and scale down faster. The hosting costs should be the same, but it's a whole behind the scenes sort of thing that I think most of our customers probably won't care a whole lot about. So we're just going to mention it very briefly. That's something we're working on with technology. It is the way that the world is moving on the cloud computing. So it's one of those things where we want to stay relevant and up to date with the latest technology. And even if you as customers don't see any immediate advantage or nothing's going to look different to you, it's a way to stay current so that we end up being orphans out there, which we've always been kind of our mantra. And the last thing on our thing is display enhancements to better support accessibility. There's new versions of HTML out. There's new attributes that can be assigned inside there. And some of our templates that we have, some of our themes that we give you by default have older versions of that technology. So it's kind of going back and retooling all of the default templates that we have in our libraries that we are serving up by default out of the box so that they have additional enhancements for accessibility.
Yeah, there's obvious challenges with that in the sense that we really, really strive to do backward compatibility, right? We love it when a theme that was implemented or a design implementation doesn't have to be redone, right? And so looking at nice ways to avoid breaking compatibility with already existing implementations, CSS wise and all that. So, but that's something that's on our radar for sure.